Hello again, everyone. Ambassador Terry with another What Are You Doing interview and for Lumina Interfaces book launch series. And my guest is Hava Siegelmann. Welcome, Hava.
Hey, Ambassador Terry, thank you very much for inviting me here.
I'm excited to have you. And ladies and gentlemen, she's doing her contribution is pretty cool. So here comes the famous question, Hava Siegelmann. What are you doing with the Lumina book?
So I contributed a section, a chapter to this book. And this is about artificial intelligence and the capability to make artificial intelligence that is stronger and stronger. So it's kind of foundational work that, I started already in the early 90s and it has been growing. So since then I was saying, neural networks can do really much more than your regular digital computer. And, by learning online and doing these type of things, you get so much more than programming. So at the time then we started this work, it was hard for people to understand because they needed to control the machine very much. Now I think they understood that if you want to have good AI, we need to let the system grow and update and understand. And just to say, so there are kind of a different ways to reach it and that are mathematically equivalent. So I was writing about it. So there is a model, computational model, that we call super Turing computation. So Turing is the Alan Turing that is started the basis of all computer science. Today he has a digital model, and his idea at the time was that he wanted to simulate what they used to call calculator. Calculators were people, usually women, who were sitting in the back room, maybe of a bank or other financial institution, and they're just writing, sums and multiplication. And he wanted kind of to understand how they do it and create a machinery to do that. So kind of computer science today is really based on Alan Turing's idea. And what we suggested is what we call super Turing computation, which is computation that is beyond that. And we came with a few ways of how to reach it. And one of them is this simple move. Instead of having only digital computation, is the incorporation of some analog computing. But you have to do it very smartly because when you train, when you learn, it's really a cross analog domain. It's like a continuum, how you change the parameters. There are many, many parameters in AI. You have to change them smoothly or else everything fails. So they kind of explained first the theory. Then actually I went to DARPA. I was there for a few years and I ran a program that is kind of one of the practical way of obtaining this type of super Turing computation. We called the program Lifelong Learning Machine. And I'll tell you kind of the idea. So the classical AI in the 80s was that, you write program or you go to an expert, you ask him, how do you do these things? And then you write it and the network does. Then the neural network started. Actually, they started, already in the late 40s, but didn't catch as much. And the idea was that instead of asking an expert what you do, you watch an expert and you see what he does as responses to many things. You don't bother him. And you take all this input and output, like the input and response, and you train a neural network. So this was kind of like the second wave for AI. The problem is that both the first and the second were assumed that you do it in advance. So you take in advance, ask the person, the expert, how you do, or you look in advance and you train the parameter in advance and then put them. And then you put it in your self-driving car, or then you put it in your chat at home. And the issue is that this type of more classical AI, once you finish preparing them, there is nothing you can do. It's kind of like my son that after first grade, he says that he knows to read and write. He doesn't need to continue with school. So kind of like their idea. So the reality is that we don't want people like that. Like if I just knows what I learned until some age and then I'm not able to be flexible and adapt to situation, people will not consider me very intelligent, even if I got good grades in second grade. So the whole idea is about flexibility and adaptivity and tuning and context viewing and taking things from the past and putting them in the current. So not just say, I know the song, maybe I learned it 5 years ago, but bring it all together. Now I have this capability, let's do that. So we suggested that DARPA, I suggested that program that was called Lifelong Learning Machine. The idea was it never stops learning and it can use things from different time. And putting it together, it actually provably is a super Turing computational power. So this is one way to get super Turing computational power, while the other one is with a combination of analog and everything you have to do smartly. So we kind of explain how to do it in a way that you don't just throw things into a soup. It will not do to anything. It's like how to do this communication, how to do this adaptation, how to go forward to create something that is both more intelligent and more very important to me and also for the book is much more human interface smart, because if we have great AI and we don't really communicate it well with the human, it will just do what people like to write books and movies on about these robots that kill everybody and ruin the world. But once we have
Lovely,
a human
lovely. Thank
as
you.
part of that, that's wonderful because we get the person kind of smarter. We can think of the computer as an extension of the person. It's kind of like together you have something very good and very positive. And that's kind of like the direction that I'm going to. So when I talk about lifelong learning, or I'm talking about super Turing computation, it always has the human part in. It's so much more human, it's so much more biology. It's something that is very easy to understand and comprehend and communicate with.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, was this a good experience or what? Hava Siegelmann, thank you so much for being with us today. And ladies and gentlemen, leave some comments. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, so bye for now.
Thank you very much. Bye.